Hi, I'm Michael Wargo, team pilot with Precision Aerobatics. And I haven't done any videos on tips or anything for hovering and that type of thing for a while. So today, I'm going to give you a couple more really good tips for learning to hover. And this is a bit different than anything you've seen. But I think you're really going to get a lot out of it. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to get the plane into a hover. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to get started hovering. I've showed a lot of nice videos and instruction on how to get into a hover properly, make everything look good, but I didn't really talk so much about just trying to get started with it. So I'm going to show you that today. Okay, you know, when you watch me hover, you see me doing it very gentle and very deliberate, like this, and just standing up like that. And it looks so easy. I don't want to be dismissive as to how difficult hovering actually is. And I have a few tricks to help you get started. The first of which is, since throttle management is so important, I want you to try this. I want you to fly straight up and cut the throttle and just stay there. And as it falls, catch it again. That's the first lesson. You could do it high, you could do it medium, you can do it low. I'd suggest you start a little higher. So all we're going to do is go dead vertical, cut the throttle. When it falls, add the throttle back again. And what we're trying to do is practice what it's going to take to have the plane stop flying up or staying steady. And from falling down, we want to stop it. And that's what it's going to look like. It's going to look ugly. But this is the practice of pointing the plane up, letting it almost stop as it falls. Now start adding some throttle. And you will intuitively pull back on the elevator, and that will get you hovering. You see how ugly that was? Doesn't matter. This is not learning hover. It's learning how to get into a hover and how to manage the hover. So up, as soon as it starts to fall, add throttle to catch it. And pull back on the elevator. See? That's what we're looking for. There's a little wind and it's doing a little pushing the plane around that I don't like. But watch again. And you're going to get better at this. And watch how even mine are getting better. We're going to go up. As it starts falling, add throttle back. And that is perfect. Pull back on the elevator a little bit. Now I'm going to do that very low this time, so you can kind of hear the motor and everything like that, so you can see or hear what's actually going on. So this time, and I'm not suggesting that you do it low, this is only for demonstration purposes. I'm going to pull it up, watch it fall, and then add throttle to catch it and pull back on the elevator a little bit. That's all you need to do. Keep practicing that, because that's what's going to get you in a stable hover. One of the biggest problems is trying to hover when you're not stable. Up, let it fall, catch. Now, eventually, what our goal is to not have it fall at all, but not rise up. A tendency you're going to have is, as it starts to fall, is to hit too much throttle that it goes like that, but that's not a problem. I just want you to add just enough to hold it there. And in essence, that's trick number one. We're just going to go up, start letting it fall, and then hit the throttle to prevent falling. And that's it. Now you hear me pulsing the throttle? That's a skill that comes when you learn to hover, because for the most part, it's hard to find. There's this Goldilocks zone where right now, where you see it's not falling and it's not rising. Well, ultimately, it's a lot better to keep pulsing the throttle to maintain that level. And I cover that in other videos. But this is all about getting to know the throttle, how much throttle you need, to not over throttle and not under throttle, to just keep it. And a tip I've given before is, your goal when hovering is not necessarily to keep the plane from falling. That's pretty intuitive. What you have to work on is keeping the plane from rising. Most people I watch that are inexperienced hovering, what happens is they start like this, they start hovering, and then they continually climb. As they're hovering, I'm going up, you know, a foot a second kind of thing, and eventually you're hovering at, you know, 50 feet. Hovering looks really, really cool when you're down, you know, near the deck, or the plane is staying in place. So as I establish an altitude, you know, the throttle is the only thing keeping this thing at that same altitude, and that's what looks really nice. Again, you can refer to my other videos on how to hover to see a lot of other tricks and how to get good at it, better at it. As you can see, I'll always be entering the hover out of a Harrier like this. But the next trick to getting started, and even if you've been started and you're looking for a trick to help you get better at it quickly, it's going to be this. I'm going to put the plane up in a hover, and I'm not going to make any small movements. I'm going to make dramatic movements. I'm going to pull it backwards, pull it forward, and I'm going to use large movements on the sticks, large movements. Okay, this is a hover with me just trying to stay in one spot. Okay, I'm making a lot of small adjustments, just trying to level it off. What I'm suggesting when you start, find the wind, pull it backwards, pull it forward, pull it backwards, pull it forward, and just make large movements like this until you can start making a bit smaller ones. This little exercise will help you with a lot of things. Most are orientation oriented. So as I get the plane going up, I'm just going to move this, just pull it backwards till it's a little upside down, then push it forward. Pull it back, push it forward. And in the meantime, I'm still manipulating the throttle. The next part is the same exact thing, only with the rudder. So we want to make big rudder left, big rudder right, big rudder left, big rudder right, and just use large movements to just start getting used to where the plane is in the air and the adjustments you have to do. Ultimately, to be really proficient at hovering and to be able to just guide it and put it exactly where you want it and things like that, you absolutely have to be proficient at very small movements. But again, what we're doing now is we're practicing the opposite, and that is to just get your thumb used to moving in specific directions. I'm going to go up, and as it starts moving around, I'm just going to just keep pushing big movements back and forth to find my center. Eventually, you'll see yourself stop, and you'll start making smaller adjustments. But I've done this with several students over the years, and it really works. I mean, it really works. Big moves, back and forth. Big move left, big move right. If you're up high, it doesn't matter if the plane falls out or anything like that. But one of the final parts of that is so beneficial is you are going to get very used to manipulating the throttle while you're doing that. And kind of behind the movements we're trying to make, you're going to be coordinating the throttle at the same time, and that's going to happen right along with it subconsciously. So give those things a try, and we'll see how it works for you. Using aerobatics, today I have something that I think is really cool. I have a hovering trick that really works. As I get better and better at hovering, it seems I make less and less adjustments. And that brings me to the fact that most people are over-controlling when they're trying to learn to hover. You've watched me hover, you know, and show how easy it is to control the airplane and literally put it where you want it. You've seen me catch it and dip in the water and things like that. These are all control things that come from confidence. Okay, and I'm going to show you a trick today that will help. Here it is. This trick, this video is going to be a little more than this trick, but I'm going to show you, once you learn to, you know, Harrier and things like that, to where you're able to control the plane and get it up into a hover. And even if you do it up high, the first thing to do is, once you get it up into a hover, simply let go of the controls on the right. Stop. Just let go. Now you see it kind of fly out a little bit. So generally, once you let go of the controls, you'll see the way it's going, and then you can readjust and catch it. Okay, so right now, once I find level, it's windy, so once I find level, I let go. Once I find level, let go. Try that a bunch of times. It really works. It works to be able to just stop looking like this, just, everything just constantly moving and constantly moving. All we want to do is stop, let go, stop, let go. I haven't touched the controls, now I'm touching it. So eventually what will happen is, as you get a little better at it, now you notice the tendency right now with the wind and everything else is it was just flying forward. It was just coming out of the hover. So I have to add a little back pressure. I have to add a little elevator like this to straighten it out. So this time when I let go, I know what to expect. It's going to fly out, and then I pull back again. It's going to fly out, pull back again. I'll correct the rotation. But you can see, instead of trying to do 100 different maneuvers at once, trying to catch it in every direction, just stop. And that is the tip. Just stop. It did most of that on its own. Worry about the throttle and let the right stick alone. It's up, let the right stick alone. Now I'm just kicking a little bit of rudder to keep it there. And that's about it. If you ever watch me hover and it's nice and quiet with the wind and things like that, and the plane just looks so stable, you'll notice there isn't a lot going on. I'm really not moving things very much. To keep this stable, I'll do a lot of micro adjustments. You see the rudder going a little bit? But there's no panic in this. There's no way, okay, when I pull it up, I'm going to let go. And I'll tell you when I try and adjust. Hold on, okay, ready? It's level. All right. Now, I haven't touched it. Okay, level. Whoops, flying out. Level, haven't touched it. Pushed it forward, obviously it was leaning back towards me. But ultimately what I'd like to see you do is only make somewhat large adjustments until you get better at catching it. So as soon as the plane starts going forward, eventually, like right now, if I was going to hover and I was really wanting to show how good I hover, I pull it up, and as soon as it starts flying out, I just bump it back, bump it back, bump it back. Little adjustment, bump it back. All right. The big tip is get it up there, even if you do it at an altitude. Get it up, lock it straight, and let it go. And then pull back when you see something dramatic happen. Eventually, when you start making much smaller adjustments, the key to a good hover is making micro adjustments while it's flying. You know, something everybody's afraid of, it seems, even good hoverers are, hovering when the belly is towards you. And the key is, as they're going through a torque roll or anything, is just try to do it hands off. And just take your fingers off the controls for a little bit. Watch what the plane is doing and make quick adjustments.